So I wanted to welcome everyone from around the world. It's like we have the United Nations here this morning. We have people from Hungary, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Italy, South Africa. Um, did we get Karen Weber? Are you from Australia? Are you joining us this morning? Okay, it's the middle of the night there, so I can understand. Some people wait for the um, the video to come out. And what I'll be doing is I will record the our exchanges here, and then we have a couple of Q&A sessions, and I will record those. We have I've already taught this class about 10, 12 times, I think, and have recorded it in the video rather than I was spending 2 hours doing the class, and I was spending 8 hours doing the video. So what I've done is that I've taken the best of the videos and some of the questions and answers, and I will play the video here in a few minutes. And then when we get onto the Q&A, I will record that again and record your questions and your answers. So a show of hands, how many people are familiar with muscle testing? Okay, so looks like not everyone there. Okay, well, good. So we're not introducing that to you. The thing is that if you're not familiar with muscle testing, this is going to be an introduction. This is based on basically the Touch for Health type of muscle testing and evaluation. But those of you who have had Touch for Health, you're going to be learning some new muscles and new muscle groups. So this will be in addition. I think that the plantars and the dorsals should be the 43rd and 44th muscle groups, and they are really kind of been ignored all these years, and I'm not sure why. We do a lot of people work with the head, a lot of people work with the heart, and so the mind body, but the feet have seemed to be gotten neglected over the years. This is a technique I discovered over 12 years ago. Have used it. We use it all the time ourselves. It is, hopefully, you will find that it's very useful. Almost everybody in our classes that have taken it have found that, yes, it is beneficial to them. And so that's good. In general, what we're going to do today, the presentation covers about 45 minutes, 45 minutes, and play that. And then at the end of that, what we'll do is we'll have a 10-minute break. Then we'll come back after the break, and you'll see the demonstration of the technique. After the demonstration of the technique, if you have any questions, you can ask me after the video, but any questions just after watching that, if you have any questions. But so after we have the break, and then you do your practice. You watch the demonstration, and then you have, if you have any questions, let me know. And then you're going to do practice on yourself. Or if you have a partner there with you or someone that you can practice on, that's great. That's fine. That'll be just a little bit after an hour from now, about an hour and 10, an hour and 15 minutes when you'll be doing your practice session. So if you want to have them available, that is fine. That is great. This is a technique that you can use on yourself. I tell when I'm testing, I do it one way, and Gail says make sure you let the women know that you can do it a different way, because men, our legs bend. We're not quite as flexible with some movements and as you women, and so I will show you both of those ways right there. I will go ahead and get started here with the video. I'll share this. Okay, here's some foot facts. On average, people spend about 4 hours a day standing on their feet. And our feet are acting as shock absorbers. They help keep us balanced, they help us walk, and they help us perform a lot of different movements. And up to 87% of people have painful feet at some time in their lives. That's a pretty high number right there. And I think that is the reason that all of you are joining us this morning. You either have had foot pain yourself, or in your practice, you would like to be able to help people that you're working with. The thing is that foot pain is just at all the time, the range of percentage of people who do have foot pain at any one time is estimated from 9% to 30%. And even at 9% of the population, that's a relatively large number. So, and 30% is a very large number of people suffering at one time. So a lot of times foot and ankle joint pain are common, and they contribute to the multiple functional impairments and cause pain in other parts of our body, in our ankles, our knees, our hips. A lot of it, if we can nip it in the bud, the techniques that you're going to be learning today, you will be helping people tremendously. Feet and ankle pain contribute to additional risk of having difficulty standing and walking by twofold, going up and down stairs by 71%. That is a very high number. And getting up from a seated position by 44%. And those are real high numbers. And foot pain was generally more prevalent in women and obese individuals. It generally increased with age. And the prevalence of foot pain is much less in younger folks, ages 20 to 44. But I can say even in those ages, I experienced foot pain. So that is something to be aware of. This is in a study entitled Plantar fasciitis, an evidence-based review of diagnosis and therapy. It says that plantar heel pain in activists is active as well as in sedentary adults of all ages. But like we said, it's much more likely to occur in someone who is obese or someone who is on their feet most of the day. In a list of 7 of the pains of the feet, plantar fasciitis is ranked number 1 issue. And foot pain has been identified as an independent risk factor in locomotor disability, impaired balance, increased risk of falls, loss of independence, reduced quality of life, and of loss of the many benefits of exercise. We know that exercise is one of the best ways that things that we can do to help maintain our health. But a lot of times you will hear people not exercise because they have pain in their shoulders, pain in their knees, pain in their feet. So if we can help people be able to exercise, we are really helping them, we're benefiting them in their overall health. So 2 other obvious causes of pain that were missing from these studies are stress and anxiety. In our Touch for Health kinesiology, we really work with a lot with stress. And we know that when people are under stress, one of the common reactions is fight or flight. And of course, in fight or flight, what's involved in those are our feet and our ankles and our legs. And so what I have found is that when people are stressed out, they will be experiencing knee pain and ankle pain. And so when they come to me in the beginning and say that they do have these pains, I'll ask. I say, well, are you under a lot of stress? And a very large percentage of the time is yes, they are. Because even though that some of them may be sedentary behind a computer all day or behind a desk, they're experiencing the pain and the fight or flight, but they can't run. They can't express that. They just have to sit there, and it's still affecting their knees and their legs and their feet. Also, foot pain. A lot of money goes towards foot pain. And medication costs account for almost 80% of the total. And that is a lot. There's a lot of money there addressed on these. So if you can address foot pain with yourself or with your clients or with your family, friends, or whatever, you're really helping them in a lot of ways. So That's to get us started right there. Okay. All right. So going to start right here. This is the bulk of the presentation, and it will last about 45 minutes. And then at the end of that, we'll come back and we'll have a 10-minute break. And after the break, if you have any questions before we get started and seeing the demonstration of the technique, let me know. So here I go. I will get this. Welcome, everyone. My name is Earl. I originally presented this presentation at the Touch for Health Kinesiology Association annual conference in 2018 at Sarah Retreat in Malibu. This course does not contain any medical advice. These techniques are not used for the diagnosis or treatment of disease. For all serious and life-threatening issues or for worsening or continuing symptoms, contact professional healthcare providers. Here's a chart that I created with the help of Rob Abelage and Norma Harnack and Adam Lehman and Gail Cook. This shows the wellness and vitality on the left and serious illness and injury on the right. On the left is low cost and minimally invasive. On the right, it is high cost and highly invasive. So in Touch for Health and in our alternative techniques, we work in these green areas and hopefully can help people through wellness and vitality and personal growth and health maintenance and prevention and stress relief and even pain control, help them avoid having to use the services of our modern medical system. But notice the red line around that we do not cross that line. We can help people prepare for going, for example, having surgery, and we can assist them as afterwards in helping them recover. But once things become serious, we do not go into that area. Make that point very clear. So thank you. So the objectives of this class are to present some background and the spark of discovery. We got a quick look at foot anatomy, some systems located on the feet. Then we're going to look at muscle testing and energetically correcting the plantar and dorsal muscles of the feet. I'll touch a bit on my research methods, how I got to this point. And then we'll have a Q&A after you get a chance to work with the techniques. And if you have any questions and answers, we will address those. Gail and I are very active, and we're constantly using our feet. We like to dance, so we do folk dancing. We play volleyball, and we love taking long walks. And as we know, exercise is one of the best ways to maintain health and vitality. And how many times have you heard someone say, well, I can't take that walk. I have foot pain. My feet are bothering me today. So we want to address those right away. So I was attempting to relieve a fellow dancer of chronic foot pain, and she had spent 4 years and thousands of dollars with foot specialists and expensive orthotics. So I said, okay, I think I can take care of that. And so I did a Touch for Health session with her, and I used all my techniques, and then I stepped back and I said, well, how's that? With a satisfied smile on my face, expecting things to be better as they usually are. And she said, oh, there's no difference. So I said, oh boy. So I thought back, and I was kind of on the spot, but I had an aha moment, and I tried something based on our standard muscle testing and correction techniques, and it worked instantly. So using the basics of Kendall and Kendall muscle testing, I had my client attempt to flex her foot and put the ends of her muscles closer together by contracting and flexing the foot and toes. The test was to see if I could extend the muscles after she had them contracted and flexed. The client could not fully flex, and I could easily extend the foot muscles. The correction, spindle cells. So they are part of the body's proprioceptive system. These are special nerve cells in the belly of the muscles that monitor how far muscles are stretched and how quickly they extend. The brain will turn off a muscle if if the brain thinks the muscle is overextending or moving too fast, and it will turn the energy off to prevent the muscle from being injured. The results, the test and correction took approximately 15 seconds. Pain instantly disappeared. She tossed her special shoes and inserts, and then she went on a 6-week backpacking trip soon afterwards with no pain. When you work with someone like this, I had my fingers crossed. It's like, well, goodness, we had good results, but let's don't push it. But she did, and she did okay. So I checked in on her after 4,292 days, and she replied that she never had any more pain after I had worked on her. And you may ask, well, how do you know 4,292 days? That's because in our eTouch for Health software, we track the dates of the last session that we had with someone. So I only had one session with her, and it had been over 4,000 days ago. And she never had any more pain. She had actually forgotten that she had had so much pain. We're going to look at basic foot anatomy. And starting off by looking at muscles of the feet. And what we see here is that the heel bone and the sesamoids, or the ball of the foot, those are the load-bearing bones of the feet. Holding these two bones together is the plantar fascia. It is a ligament, and it should be non-load-bearing. Then we have a complex series of muscles, and we have 20 individual muscles, and 14 are located plantar on the bottom of the foot in 4 levels. 2 more are dorsal, and 4 are intermediate. And as I said, the plantar fascia holds the ends of the feet together, and the heel and the ball of the foot are load-bearing, while the plantar fascia should not be. But if the muscles become inhibited in the foot, the plantars or the dorsals, the foot flattens out and weight is placed upon the plantar fascia, and extreme pain is the result. Here this is the plantar fascia ligament, and it is on the bottom, but as I said, is not load-bearing. It almost has, well, you can see it has its origin insertions also. Back on the heel is the narrow part of the ligament, and then it fans out to the different toes. Here is the first view of the plantar muscles, and this is the layer 1. And you can see they almost look similar to the ligament, the plantar fascia. So, but that is the first level. Here is the second level of plantar muscles as we get a little bit deeper into the foot. And then here is level 3. And here is level 4, the deepest level of the muscles. We notice also that the tendons, the posterior tibial tendon and the peroneus tendon, both wrap around the foot and come around and located on the bottom of the feet. So in a way, we're testing, we have not been testing the plantars and dorsals, but we've been testing the posterior tibial and anterior tibial and the peroneus. And most of it's their tendons that come around on to the bottom of the feet. On the top of the foot, we have the dorsal muscles and the tendons. And we can see that once again, there are muscles, and then there on the top, there is a tendon there. And so all these together working, and these help to flex the foot upwards. Some of the systems of the feet, there are a lot of things going on the feet. And I don't know if it's because of there so many things happening on the feet, or because of the complexity that they haven't really been included in our standard muscles. But we do work with the acupuncture meridians, and we see that there are three acupuncture meridians that begin on the feet. There's the kidney, which is the only meridian that touches Mother Earth. And we can see it right in the center there at K1. Spleen and liver also begin on the feet. Three meridians end on the feet. There's the stomach, and the bladder, and the gallbladder. We have 5 sets of pain tapping points are located on the dorsal region of the feet, and these are for kidney, stomach, bladder, gallbladder, and spleen. We also have the gait correction points are located on the dorsal side of the feet. So a lot of things going on our feet. Here are the starting ending foot meridian points, and these are all bilateral. We show one foot, but they're all bilateral. We also have foot reflexology. And similar to the ears, the foot contain reflex massage points for the entire body. And most of you have seen these or have used the foot reflexology before, but it is very effective and very comforting. Notice the kidney meridian there comes around right on the base of the foot at K1. The acupuncture name for that point is bubbling spring. Always like that. We also have the chakras of the feet, and they are all 7 chakras are duplicated on the feet in these areas right here. Due to the large number of proprioceptors in the spindle cells and the Golgi tendon apparatus and joints in the feet play a major role in the vestibular system of balance. And so I asked the question, I said, if we can help people improve their balance, will it have the potential to help the elderly prevent falls? So that is hopefully a positive result of working with people and restoring the functionality of the plantars and the dorsals, and that we will be also improving their balance. Functions of the feet. We're always using our feet. And whether we're walking, running, jumping, dancing, or simply standing still, our feet are involved. I had a friend one time who, even while he was sitting, he was always tapping his foot. So his feet, I saw him sleeping and his feet were moving. So it's like his feet were moving almost 24 hours a day. But most of the time we'll sit, and whether we're walking or running or jumping, if we take a step, there's dorsiflexion. If we're just standing still, usually, even though we're neutral, we have some tension and flexion in the muscles to keep our balance. Then we have the plantar flexion, and this is when we're completing a step. We're running, we're jumping, or we're dancing. And then we have our left and right. We have the abduction and the adduction movements. And so if you remember all the different muscles of the feet, even in the plantar, how they are involved in all these functions and movements. So if we have difficulty in any of these movements, we want to check the plantars and the plantars and the dorsals. So what are some of the conditions associated with the feet? This was mostly using my, I guess, common sense and my experience. And some of these, I would say that, yeah, there's a possibility, and some, no. And some, I don't know. I have a question mark. They're unknown. And others, but this is my best guess at which ones will be affected by these techniques that we are learning today. Achilles tendonitis? Yeah, possibly. Athlete's foot? I don't think so. Black toe? No. Blisters? Probably not. Bruised? But anyway. But if we get down to bursitis, yeah, possibly. Calf pain? Yeah. Because what we find out is if we have pain in the feet, there's compensatory actions that occur with the other muscles that are trying to overcome the inhibitions and the weakness of the other muscles. So calf pain it can be one of those compensatory pains if there are problems in the feet. We're going down and let's see, drop foot, flat feet. Yeah, I think pretty much. Foot pain and soreness. Uh, but so you can go through these and see that there's a lot of different common conditions that result in foot pain that hopefully can be resolved with these techniques. So indications. Ankle bow down, ankle problems, ankle turned in, bladder problems, difficulty. So we can see that there are a lot of indications that if these are appearing, that are indicating that we do have an issue with the plantars and the dorsals. This one was very interesting. As I was preparing to go out to Malibu for our conference, I needed to get a new pair of shoes. And while going to be traveling, so I stopped by a shoe store. And the gentleman said, he walked in, and the first thing he said is, oh, let me scan you. And I'm old enough to remember that when we were kids, we would go into a shoe store, and there was a big box there. And it had two openings at the bottom where you'd stick your feet in with your new shoes on. And up top where it's like a periscope, you could look down and see your feet. Your mother could look in on the other side, or your father, and the shoe salesman look in on the other side. And basically what it was, there was an x-ray machine. And thankfully they have outlawed those, or we don't see them anymore. So when the shoe salesman said, let me scan your feet, that was the first thing that came to my mind. And I said, no, thank you. But then I realized what they're doing is that they are measuring pressure. So I went in and I stood on the measured, and my left foot looked good. This is an after photo right here. But my left foot looked okay, but my right foot was flat. And the shoe salesman said, okay, I know exactly what you need. I've got an orthotic for that and a shoe perfect for that. And I said, no, we have something. So I went over, sat down, and asked my wife, Gail, and I said, here, check my plantars. She did, and they were out. And then she corrected them. I went back up, stood on the machine again, and suddenly the arch was back in my foot, the shape was back in my foot. But then it had shifted to the left, and he said, look. He says, now it's on the left side. And I said, okay, well, that's because we didn't test or balance the left side. So we went back and we did that. And then I jumped back up on the machine, and this is what I saw. So this was, a real-time test of these techniques and how they worked. And I'm not sure that, you'll be able to walk into a shoe store and get a shoe salesman to allow you to do this. But if so, you can have a lot of fun. So the muscle tests for the plantars and dorsals are very similar to other Touch for Health muscles. Subtle differences in pressure points make huge differences in muscles being tested and the results of the test. For example, the primary difference from the standard Touch for Health muscle test for soleus and anterior tibial is associated with the ability of the toes to flex and extend. During testing for the plantars and dorsals, pressure is on the tips of the toes rather than the ball of the foot and the top of the foot. That is critical right there. That is a key difference right there, is that we're putting the pressure on the tips of the toes as they are flexed, and we're attempting to straighten them. And some of you, if you're not familiar with muscle testing, I'll just do some basics right here. It is, don't use that much pressure. We only use up to 2 pounds of pressure and only up to 2 seconds of time. And what we do is that it is a gentle test, and we determine that, the results. We can use 2 people, you and the other person that you just tested, and say, well, how was that? How did that feel? And let them be a part of the test. Basically, we're always stabilize. so that we isolate the muscle that we want to test. If we get multiple muscles involved in a test, we get inaccurate results. So we always want to properly stabilize, isolate the muscle, and do a gentle, consistent pressure for under 2 seconds. And then both people assess and decide the results together. So what are we testing and monitoring? We're checking the locking capability of muscles. Locking means they're facilitated and function properly. Commonly known, a lot of people say they're strong. Unlocking means they're inhibited and not function properly, and the common term is weak. But we try not to get into strong and weak because then people think, it's a strength contest, and some people will fight with every ounce of energy they have not to let properly test a muscle. So we say we're checking the locking capability of muscles, and we're only going up to 2 pounds of pressure. So we're also assessing balance and homeostasis. And locking means there's balance in an acupuncture meridian and the organ and muscle. And if it's unlocking, there's unbalance or an imbalance in the acupuncture meridian or organ. We're also monitoring stress. Locking means there's low or no stress in the system, in the acupuncture meridian or the organ. Unlocking means there's high stress or stress present. So there are a lot of different kinds of stressors. So what? Anxiety, fear, and trauma are stressors. Injury, a redundant activity, doing something over and over again will cause, that's stress on the system. A poor diet, lack of exercise, inability to express oneself, desires, and needs. So Richard Dure, who is a longtime practitioner and researcher into proprioceptivity, says that with the muscle test, we are monitoring stress within the cells of the body. And here is a link if you want to read a paper that Richard Dure has written on proprioceptive system. I highly recommend it. How about energetic stressors of muscles of the feet? Well, feet are important parts of the fight or flight stress response system. If you're ready to run, flight, your feet are definitely involved. But from my personal experience, I have observed that people under a lot of stress will often have knee, ankle, and foot problems. Because a lot of times people are under a lot of stress, but they can't run. They're stuck behind a desk. They're stuck in traffic. They're stuck. They can't move. But still, the stress is there, and still it's affecting the knees and the feet and ankles. And so, getting control of stress is very important in our lives. And as we see, our plantars the plantars and the dorsals are an important part of our stress response system. So here's the muscle test for the plantars. Notice that the foot is being flexed and the toes are being flexed. Notice that the pressure point is on the ends of the toes and not on the ball of the foot. Here we're supine on the left side here, and then if we're prone on the right, notice that the stabilization is still right on the joint of the ankle right there, and the pressure is still on the ends of the toes, and here it would be going down. So this is two different ways. First one is you face up, and the second one you're face down. But this is the way that the test is done for the plantars. And the key point is that the pressure is on the ends of the toes. If we do the dorsal extensors, here is where we will stabilize on the heel. And now we are the pressure point is against the toes. With the toes, the foot is flexed with the toes upwards. And what we're attempting to do is put pressure on the ends of the toes and bend the foot back down so that it is straight. On the left is we're on the back, supine, and then on the right side, face down and prone. And but both times you see that the we're stabilizing on the heel, and the pressure point is on the ends of the toes. So here's some interesting refinements. So sometimes single or multiple toes will be locking or will be unlocking while others do lock. So what this means is that, well, for an example, last week we were walking and I had pain in my foot and I saw my plantars are out. So we stopped and Gail tested my plantars and they held. I walked a few more steps and I said, they're out. You know, I mean, they're really, it's hurting. They're out. So we stopped again and the pain was on the outside of my foot, the sole of my foot, and on the little toe side. So I asked Gail, I said, okay, test my little toe. So she tested my little toe and it had nothing. It was just totally inhibited. There was nothing there. So she worked on and restored the blocking capability of my little toe, and the pain went away. So be aware of that. So it's beneficial to test individual toes, especially the big and little toes, since they are so involved in motion and balance. As a result of testing individual toes, you may be doing 12 tests for each foot. You know, that's 12 for, well, you do one for all 5 toes. So for the plantars, then you go back through and you test each one. So that's 6 for the plantars. Then you do 6 more for the dorsals. Toes have multiple muscles in each toe that have spindle cells. So as you look at see how your toes bend, you can do the same with your fingers. Each section of your toes or of your fingers are small muscles in each section, and they each have, and you can test each of those individually. And so just be aware of that. Balancing little toes is memorable. You wouldn't think that a little toe could be involved in so much pain or so many functions, but they are. And have tested in people, and everything was strong, but the little toe just had nothing. You know, it had no function at all. And we worked with it, and then finally their little toe would begin to lock. And it's quite an achievement to see just a little toe flapping in the breeze to become one that is actually locking and strong and functional. So considering hygiene, we are working with the feet, and so I think using a warm washcloth and towel is a great experience for those you work upon as they come in, and you go ahead and take off the shoes and socks, and you clean their feet. It's enjoyable for them, and it's hygienic for you. If warm water is not available, you can use standard wipes and paper towels, and a skin lotion at the end is a nice touch. And then use hand sanitizer after your session. Come in with some new techniques. The first one is the self-noticing of range of motion. Here, let me see if I can turn my video back on here. And let's say range of motion right here. I'm not doing my feet, I'm just doing one muscle right up here. As you know, this is one of the shoulder muscles right up here. And what we can do is come down and push down on it. And if it locks and holds, we know that it is okay. But if we were to put pressure on it and it unlocks, we know that it needs attention. So the same thing with our feet muscles, which we will see. The other is noticing the function. A lot of times, a common function is people combing their hair. And when people comb their hair, suddenly they say, well, when I do that, I have pain in my shoulder and the back of my neck. I know that we're working with the feet, but this is an example, a common example that we use to figure out which muscles are involved in a function. Like I said, too, the pressure is that if we know going through, and this pretty much self range of motion and self noticing and the pressure go together. And self application of pressure, like what I had said, that we use up to 2 pounds of pressure and two fingers, and here I am pushing down, and that would this is locking, and that would be unlocking. A couple of more uh, tests. I'm not going to really cover these. The first three are the ones that are being promoted in Touch for Health as the official pandemic uh, remote balancing techniques. So, but some people also use. I'll just briefly touch on them because some of these probably could do a whole class on them. There's the sway test. Sway test is when the body is like a human pendulum. And if you're standing straight and you make a statement as my name is, you add your name and then you just lean forward. And that means that is yes, it's a true statement. Or you say my name is Pinocchio, but then you start moving backwards. So that is no. So you can also use these in testing muscles. And as you test a muscle, did you sway forward or did you sway backwards? And that is one way of determining the condition of the muscle. Some people use the finger loop test, and they go in and hold the loop and try to open it up. And if it opens, that is unlocking, and that is no. But if it stays, that is yes, and that is okay. Another is a surrogate. We use three people sometimes. If someone is very injured or an infant or elderly or just can't participate, we can bring a third person in and balance them, and they become a surrogate, and then we can work with the other person, because whatever the condition is in the person we're working with shows up in the surrogate. And I'll briefly touch the surrogate finger testing. This is actually one of my favorites. Uh, so the finger here, the index finger, would be the muscle, and the middle finger would be the pressure. And so if I put pressure on that middle finger and it locks, that's a yes. But if I put pressure on it and it unlocks, that is no, and that is unlocking. If you haven't used that before, just work with it and think things that you know what the answers are. You know that the answers are yes or no, and just think of those, and then go through and get the motion. And what you'll see is that after a while you'll fine tune and you can test this way. It takes a little work, and it's subtle, but it works. Okay, let's see here. So here was, once again, I put this in, and this was as a test, but I'm not sure how many shoe stores are going to allow you to do it. But if they do, it will be very interesting. I guarantee you. So how do we correct with the spindle cells? And the spindle cell technique is one of the quickest and easiest techniques to correct unlocking inhibited plantar and dorsal foot muscles by energetically stimulating the proprioceptive system in the belly of the muscles. So that's where the spindle cells are located. They're in the belly of the muscles. And it's very important to realize that when we're working with the muscles, that the way that the fibers run, because we're going to be working in the direction of the muscle fibers. So finding the belly of the muscle and knowing which way the fibers are running is very important. Some of the basics, we're going to be using our fingers and thumb to make a spreading motion over the belly of the muscle. Like I said, the spreading motion is performed directly over the belly of the muscle, which is located in the center of the muscle's length between the origin and insertion of the muscle. The spreading motion is performed directly over the belly of the muscle, which is located in the center of the muscle's length between the origin and insertion of the muscle. This is important. The origin is usually on the immovable bone, and it is a narrow end of the muscle, while the insertion fans out, and it is on movable bones. And these are a lot of times in the obviously in the arms and the legs and in the toes and the feet. So knowing where the origin insertion are the ends, the belly of the muscle is in the middle, and the muscle fibers run in a parallel direction between the origin and the insertions. So when we do the spindle cell, it's performed in the same direction of the muscle fibers, which, as I said, run parallel between the origin and insertion of the muscle. Touching the skin is preferred, but this can be performed within 1 inch of the foot. We're going to repeat the spreading motion movement quickly 4 or 5 times. So here we're looking at the insertions, origin insertions of the plantar, the flexor group. We can see that the bellies of the muscles are pretty much right in the middle of the foot. So here is an example. So we go in, and the direction of our fingers is going to be in the direction of the arrows. We go into the belly of the muscle, and we spread them outward. But importantly, once we do that, then we move the hand back away from the muscle. We put our fingers together again, and we come back in and we start over. If you just keep your hand in front of the belly of the muscle and go back and forth, that is like turning a light switch on and off, on and off, on and off. So what we want to do is we want to turn it on, move the hand back, put the fingers together, come back in again, and spread them. Here is the technique. And the main thing too, I go back here, is that this can be performed on almost every muscle of the body. So it's not just the plantars and the dorsals. So if you happen to have other issues, you can use the same technique there. The body has a lot of feedback loops, and the body attempts to maintain and regain balance through a variety of interactive signaling. For example, if we're cold, we shiver, and if we're hot, we sweat. The proprioceptive and vestibular systems work together to maintain our balance. Here's the spindle cells and the proprioceptive system. The muscle spindle, like is in the center, and what we have are these efferent nerves, which they're carrying the stimuli from the muscles to the central nervous system and the spine and to the brain. And so what happens is if the muscle is getting stretched too far or too fast, getting stretched too quickly, the brain will send signals back and telling the muscle to relax or to turn it off. And it doesn't always come back on. And what we are doing is that it's almost like a switch has been blown, a switch has been turned off, or a fuse has been blown, or a circuit breaker has been blown. And what we're doing is we're coming back in and finding those that have been turned off, and we're turning them back on. And we're using it through this simple method, working with the spindle cells. If we want to get into a little bit more technical of how this is working, here was something on the piezoelectric effect. The piezoelectric effect, if those old of you that are old enough to remember those vinyl things that used to have music on them, and they had these little ridges. And the way that you played that music is that you had a diamond stylus that went through, and as it went through those grooves, it would vibrate, and it would turn those vibrations into electrical energy, which would end up being music. So here we are. We have there is a little bit of piezoelectric effect going on in the body. And this study says that there's naturally occurring biological piezoelectric materials such as human bone, tendon, cellulose, collagen, and zeolite. As it goes to the from the feet all the way up to the inner ear, because that is where we are having our sense of balance. And once we get there, we know that also that they're almost like fine hairs in the interior of the inner ear and the fluids, and measuring the motion of the fluids, helping us keep our balance. So in a way, we have proprioceptors in the feet and a similar system in the ears, and they're connected, helping us keep our balance. There are other corrections too, but due to the large number of proprioceptors in the feet, and they work very well with these muscles. And these OI, that's origin and insertion techniques, are the quickest and easiest correction techniques, and these are the ones we'd recommend. In the following screens, we'll show some of the standard touch felt techniques that you can use to also correct these. And that's meridian tracing, acupuncture holding points, 5 element motions, and so forth. Spinal reflex for both the plantar and the dorsal groups, T12. Neurolymphatics, neurovasculars, central in this is the kidney meridian. Kidney meridian has been known as the root of life, and it's the only meridian that touches Mother Earth in K1. It's a reservoir of energy, and it's the seat of courage and willpower. And so in addition to our normal understanding of the physical functions of the kidneys, I like to overview these. It's a yin meridian that flows upwards. It controls the growth and development of bones and nourishes the marrow, which is the body's source of red and white blood cells. A weak kidney is therefore a prime cause of anemia and immune deficiency. And in traditional Chinese medicine, the spinal cord and the brain are forms of marrow, and therefore poor memory and ability to think clearly and backache are all regarded as indicators of impaired kidney function and deficient kidney energy. So it continues on, but in summary, I see the kidney meridian as the center of balance, both physically and emotionally. And the plantars are on the kidney meridian. Here's some metaphors you can use for correcting also. For the plantars, can you flex your foot and curl your toes to enhance your foot arch? That's the test right there. I mean, flexing the foot and curling the toes. So can you do that just naturally? Can you push up against the weight of the world so that you stand balanced only on your heels and the balls of your feet? Can you stand balanced and on your own? Can you absorb the energy from Mother Earth and discharge unneeded energy through your feet? Dorsal. Do you find it easy to take that next step in your life toward your goals? Can you step up to your challenges? Are you able to stand on your tiptoes to see farther ahead? What we're going to do now is we're going to have a 10-minute break. And when we return, we will be giving a live presentation of the testing and balancing techniques. And then you'll get a chance to try the techniques yourself. And we'll follow this by a Q&A session. Then I will attempt to answer any and all of your questions. Hello, everyone. Well, welcome back from your break. What we're going to do now is give a demonstration of the techniques. And I'd like to say that in the manual, we show that the test being done on a massage table. Not everyone has a massage table, so we're going to demonstrate here using a stool. Also, I think that usually if you were in, say, like a retirement facility and you could have yourself in a chair and moving around and working with people just sitting in a circle or sitting in a lobby or whatever. So that's a possibility. What we're doing here is that for purpose of demonstration, we have a stool here. Um, you could also, with a lot of people, well, friends or family, you could have them put their foot up on your leg, and you could work on them, just easily that way. That might not work, might not be appropriate in a clinical environment, and so you would want to work, either on a table or like we're doing here with on a stool. Okay, I'll ask Gail to put her foot up, her left foot right here, and what we're going to do is that, like I said, the first thing we do for hygiene is give a nice wash right there. And if you're out and hiking or something, or you might not have to do this, or with your other foot right here, with friends or family. So it feels good, and people like it. So what we're going to be doing with the test and with the plantars are to bend the toes and flex the foot as far as possible. And so what I'm going to be doing here is that I'm going to stabilize right here on top of the foot, right here at the joint, the bend between the. I'll be stabilizing right here, and I'll be using my finger like this to apply pressure right on the toe tips. And what we're trying to do is that with the plantars, as the foot is flexed, we're attempting to straighten the foot out. And so I'm stabilizing here, and I'll ask Gail just to go with me at the beginning just to show you. Okay, let's go. Okay, so this is the range of motion. We're going from flex to attempting to open up. I'll ask Gail to hold this time. Hold. And she held that time. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to go individual toes now. So big toe is holding. Second toe is not. Is. Uh, Middle toe is. Next toe is. And little toe is not. So all the toes together we're locking, but the little toe itself by itself is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spindle along the bottom of the foot near the little toe, come up the side of the little toe, and also the little toe itself, all around the little toe. So now I'll ask Gail to flex the little toe again, and it is locking now. So that is a reason that you go through and test all of them together, then you could test individually. Next, I'm going to do the dorsals, and so I'm going to stabilize right here on the heel. And once again, go with me this time, Gail, and we're flexing we have the foot, let's see, with the toes up, and now we're attempting to flex. So go with me, Gail. Okay, so that is the range of motion right there. And I'll ask Gail to hold, and they did not hold. So I will spindle all the way across going in the direction of the fibers of the muscle, which is the going from the ankle down to the toe tips, and I'm going all the way across the top of the foot, and the spindle cell motions right here. So now I'll ask Gil to flex upwards again, and I bring them down, and they held that time. So now I'll go through individually. Held, that held. Second toe, third toe held, next toe held, and the little toe held this time. So that's good. And then we do the other foot. Once again, we do all together go with me, and that's the range of motion. And my finger is right on the tips of the toes, and I'm pushing, and they held. Did you let go?
Well, it was in between. I wasn't sure when you
Okay,
were.
so she was not sure, and so I'm going to retest again. Okay, hold.
Yeah, there we
Okay, hold. Okay, so Gail says they are unlocking. So I'm spindling all along the bottom of her foot. It's easier where I'm going upside down, but I'm still going in the same directions. Okay, and hold. Okay, they held that time, so let's individually. Big toe, next toe, next toe, next toe, and little toe. They all held that time. So now we're going to do the dorsals and hold. They all held and do individually. Big toe, second toe, not holding, not holding, and not holding. Okay, so I'm going to spindle. So that was unusual. They all held together, but individually there were four of them that were not. So usually it's just one or two, but so that was unusual that time right there. So I'm spindling on the foot and on the toes themselves, and hold all together, and hold. That was not. That was not. Okay. So we'll go a little bit more. Okay. And hold. Let me get right here. Okay. Hold. All right. Hold and hold. Better. So that is the simple technique right there. We went through and we did the plantars on one foot, then did the dorsals, then we did the plantars and dorsals on another. Some people say, well, why don't you go ahead and do the plantars on the left and the plantars on the right? But what I find is that's the way we usually do when we're working with bilateral muscles. But what I find is that the plantars and dorsals are opposing muscles, and they're working so much together that balancing them as a pair like that is advantageous. So that is the way that I recommend doing it. So after finishing, a nice little touch is putting some lotion, some foot cream, and you don't always have to do this, but it's a very nice touch if you want to do that. And so go here, other foot, and here we go, right here. Yep, and we okay. Gail likes it.
good. Take your
So
time.
yeah, she told me to take my time. All right. Well, thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
And then I sanitize my hands and ready for the next person.
So who wants to be next? Okay.
Okay. So, and also, as people have asked, well, what if I'm not with anyone? How do I do it myself? And I'll give a quick demonstration here. I've already taken my shoes off in preparation. And so, whoops. Okay. So I'm going to give a quick demonstration here. Let me see. I need to go this way. I need to bring it a little bit closer towards me. Okay, so now we can see. So I'm going to reach over here and with my plantars, I'm going to be bringing them back this way. And I go and they held. I'm going to go with my dorsals. So I'm stabilizing on the bottom of my heel and I'm pushing my toes downward and they held all together, but individually they are not holding. So I'm okay. Hold, better, 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 and better right there. So that was one foot. So I'll do the other foot quickly right here. And they held one individually, holding, 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 and holding, doing the dorsals and holding. They all held. One, second toe did not, and little, so two of them here. Do some quick spindling. They held and held. So if you're out hiking or anywhere by yourself, you can do this technique on yourself. So what we're going to do is that you're going to get a chance to try this yourself. And then we'll come back and any questions that you have, we will answer those. So good luck, everybody. Any questions? If you have a question, go ahead and mute yourself and ask the questions now. Okay, let's see here. I have a couple of chat questions. Let's see. Is the best sequence? Let's see. Foot top, foot bottom, then toes, or foot top to. It doesn't matter. I usually start with the plantars. The question was, do you start the plantars first or the dorsals first? And it really doesn't matter. What I find is that the plantars are out more often than the dorsals, so we use those. I mean, I usually start with plantars, then go from plantars to dorsals, then the other foot plantars, then dorsals. Sharon asked, do you recommend doing the neurolymphatics, neurovasculars, etc. afterwards? I find that the spindle cells work. They're fast, they're easy, and so you can go in and do, if you know the neurolymphatics, neurovasculars, if they're still unlocking and you're still having difficulty, particularly like, well, the little toe will sometimes be a challenge. And then you might want to go into the neurolymphatics and the neurovasculars, or even tracing meridian. So, but I found that the spindle cells technique works great. And somebody asked, well, can you do this to yourself? Yes, you can. The other is that, there was one other question. Oh, can you use the spindle cells on other muscles of the body? Yes, you can. Every muscle has a belly, and and it has spindle cells in it. So yes, I know one touch felt instructor that's also a chiropractor, and that's all he uses is spindle cells. He doesn't use any of the other techniques. So, but that's a personal preference. Sometimes people learn some things and they'll use what they've learned. Okay, let me see. Kate, does a shift in structure, tarsals, other bones and footer, cause the muscles to shut down? Is this a chicken or the egg question? If there's a shift in the bones, and will it cause the muscles to go out? I say yes. If the muscles are inhibited, can it cause a shift in the bones? I think that is also possible. So yes, I think I agree with you that this could be a chicken and egg. You know, it can go either way. Um, because what we see sometimes are muscles affect organs, and sometimes organs affect muscles, and uh, so it is. You can approach it from either direction. I don't have someone here now to help me test. If I curl my toes, my plantar cramp. Some toes even remain straight rather than curl at all. If I try to help my foot curl with my hands, the dorsals feel too short to stretch enough to allow them full range of motion. Flexing dorsals doesn't hurt. Calves constantly feel too tight. Suggestions. Okay, obviously to me it sounds like you need both your plantars and your dorsals corrected. um, Cramping is obviously, well, that's one reason we only do it, just a couple of, 2 seconds. Um, but if they are either the dorsals can be out and you're trying to, test the plantars, and it will cause cramping. If you can show someone, one of the best ways of learning something, I think, is to teach someone other to do, the technique to yourself. And if you can teach them to do that, you not only have a new student that you teach them there, but you're getting the results of the test. So, uh, huh? Are you here's mixing a little bit since you're alone right there, Elizabeth. Uh, Gail, I mean, well, Elizabeth, would you be willing to have us do a remote test on you?
Love it. Thank you.
Okay, Gail, could you come back in? If I didn't lose her, let's see if she's still around.
Do you need this? Can I do it in your?
Yeah, yeah,
Can you do it in your
yeah,
lap?
yeah. You can just do it on my lap. Take your socks
Take my
off.
socks off.
Okay. Will you be a surrogate for Elizabeth?
I'd be happy to.
Okay. All right. So we just tested this a minute ago, and
Can you put your computer a little forward, maybe?
no, no,
Or you
no.
want the big pillow?
Let's do it that way because you can't see if it's down too low. Where am I?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what we're doing now is this is a test. We're doing a remote surrogate, and Gail is this. We just tested these muscles, and this is for Elizabeth. Okay. Hold. Okay. Okay. Come back. Hold. All right. Come up. All right. Hold. All right. Nothing there, right? Okay. All right. Hold. All right. Nothing in the dorsals. Nothing at all. And Gail's dorsals were locking just a second ago. Okay. Okay, now they're locking. Okay, other foot.
Okay.
So that was your right foot, Elizabeth. Okay, this is your left foot, and we're doing uh, plantars, and they're not locking. Okay, this is your left foot. Okay, hold. Okay, let's do individual toes now. Big toe, flex, flex.
Oh, plantar.
Plantars. Okay, big toe is not locking on plantars. Okay, big toe is not locking. All right. So what I'm going to even on the muscles here, make sure that I'm getting underneath and right on the big toe.
And on the side too. That feels good to me. Yeah.
Right there. Okay, flex. Okay, better. So and now, okay, let's do the dorsals. Okay, okay, not holding.
Not as much as the other one.
Yeah.
That was
The plantars were totally unlocking here.
the doors.
Um,
Thank you.
and now the dorsals weren't quite as bad, but they
Mm-hmm.
okay. And now hold. Okay. Okay. Well, according to our remote balancing and our surrogate, you should feel better now, Elizabeth. Hopefully so.
And
I
she
feel a little looser. Thank you.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Wow.
I
Okay.
know
So now,
everything.
pardon?
I was repeating what you were doing to her for treatment. So thank you.
Oh, okay. 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 Shouldn't the spinal reflex? Okay. That's a question right there. From Woo. I'll just say Woo. Um, the In Touch for Health is if both sides of a muscle are unlocking the left and the right. We always start with the spinal reflex. So that's where that you can go to the spinal reflex if you want to, since both were going out. I still like the spindle cells. I start with the spindle cells and I end with the spindle cells a lot. So it's not necessary to do go to the spinal reflex, but you can. Oh,
I'm coming.
Kate, could you go back to the left foot?
So
Big toe.
This is Dan and Kate. The question I had watching you do the big toe on the left foot, you did the plantar opening on the big toe. It looked like you also did medial on the big toe when you opened up the spindles. And it looked like you had some strength come back. I don't know if I missed that. But
Okay, so
is it
this was
possible
on
to,
the, let's see.
yeah, on the left
Back
foot,
to left-
on the
left
big
foot,
toe,
big toe.
you seem to open up on the bottom of the foot and also on the medial portion of the big toe. And then
Okay,
the big toe seemed to get stronger, but would you also do the lateral part of the big toe to work open muscles on that towards that next toe? Would that help?
Yes.
I don't know if I
I
viewed
was
that
actually,
correctly.
yeah, I was actually responding to Gail was saying that feels great when
Uh-huh.
I was doing it, and so I continued there, and I may not have come around to the side, but yes, all the way around.
Yep.
Got it.
Uh,
Okay.
it would be when I was right here in this section right here. Gail was saying that as I was doing it, she says that feels great.
Got it.
So that's the reason I focused on that more than other. Okay, let's see, what about if there's a possible broken toe? Well, this is just like with everything we do in Touch for Health. You adjust downward. We say up to 2 pounds. You may even just hardly even. Sometimes it's just going through the motion is enough without any real pressure on it. So if someone has a possible broken toe, be very careful. We don't want to hurt anybody. We want to leave them better than we found them. And there you say if there's a possible broken toe. Usually, if someone has a lot of pain, I'm extra careful working with them in that area. So the same thing with feet and toes. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? One to go in and test themselves if you have someone there with you. And let's see, I am going to go. I saw one more chat. Let's see. Oh, this is fantastic. Thank you. Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, we've had more positive feedback from this technique than from almost anything we've ever done. because almost everyone has feet, and if you have feet, you have pain at some time in your life. Welcome back. Any questions about anything before we continue and see the demonstration? Probably a lot of your questions will be answered then. Then we'll have another Q&A after that. So, okay, we shall continue then. Okay. Should be enough time for everybody. Let's see if we look at it. To test my person's toes individually. That's Maxine. Okay. Let's see. Great. Thank you. Could you show a self-test? Okay. Maybe. I might be able to show this. So let's see. I have to take my shoes off here and my socks off. May I touch you? May I balance you? No, I'm just kidding. All right. So here's my foot. And I'm just going to reach up.
There you go. A little more.
Okay. I'm just going to reach up and pull, and they do not hold. They locked then. Individual toes, pulling, and they're locking. Okay, this is dorsals. Dorsals are locking. Okay. So my right plantars were out, and I corrected those. The dorsals were fine. Taking off my other shoe here. Could you show more clearly how you are stabilizing the foot with the other hand? Okay. While I'm okay. While I'm finding that in this situation that the table is stabilizing, but if I were to, I could stabilize right here on top and pull, And so that unlocked. So both my plantars. And I'm doing the spindle cells on the bottom, spreading, stabilizing here again, flexing, and held. Okay, and now I'm stabilizing on with my right hand on my heel, and I'm flexing upwards, and I'm pushing downwards. So boy, it's a good thing I attended this class. I needed this.
And show an individual toe too.
Okay. Okay, so they're locked there. So Gail, okay, so I'm gonna do individual toes. This is plantars are being flexed downward, so I'm trying to pull it up. It locked, 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 and locked. Pushing all down, this dorsals, they all locked. Individually, big toe locked. Okay, see that's second toe is not locking. So I'm going down here where the actual muscle could be in the foot, and also doing it okay. Let's see. Okay, held better. That was not holding right there. Okay. This one has a black spot in my toenail. It's where I heard it playing volleyball, and obviously I've never fixed it. Okay. I'm doing spindle cells front and back. It's better. It's locking. And it's locking. Okay, so they're all locked. Did that help? Any other questions? Thank you. That was helpful. Good. Yes. Good. Good. Any other questions? I certainly enjoyed everyone coming in from all around the world for our time together this morning. Hopefully you have learned something. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email. A lot of times people ask, well, where do I go from here? I'll play a short little video here, an ending, and as we end. Bravo, great class. Good, good, good. Wondering how long it lasts. I always tell with any of these is that your mileage may vary. In the original with the dancer, I got back in touch with her 4,292 days later, and it was still holding. And that was the very first time, first person that I used this with. I find that mine, I do a lot of walking, I do a lot of running. Well, try to run, do a lot of volleyball. And so I'm really putting a lot of pressure on mine. So I may have to do mine sometimes every time I play, sometimes maybe once a week, sometimes maybe once a month. So it differs, but I've gotten to the point that I can tell when mine are out just by walking. I can tell if my plantars are out. Okay, well that is the technique, and that is the demonstration, and you're going to get a chance to try this yourself now. But before, are there any questions about any part of this? Oh, this is one area where Gail said that when I was leaning over on my toes, and when I was doing my individually, I was reaching over, and she says, "Well, a lot of times it's for women. It will be easier if they just cross their legs and they can reach their toes easier." Uh, and it's actually easier for me to the way that I demonstrate it, but you can do it either way. The easiest way that, however, whichever way is easiest for you to get to your toes. Any questions before you practice on yourselves, or if you do have a practice partner there or someone that you can work with, that'll be good. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
So you have the intrinsic foot muscles, but you have muscles like the extensor, hallucis longus, or flexor digitorum longus, extensor digitorum longus. Wouldn't you want to do the same thing in the leg also?
In the leg, yes. I mean, as I said, you can use the technique for any muscle in the body, really. That if you know where the origin and the insertion is located, and in the middle of those will be the belly of the muscle. So yes, you could use these on your leg muscles also,
So
and.
I guess my question was, though, it's like the extensor digitorum, the muscle belly for that muscle is in the leg, it's not in the foot. So if I was the brevis is in the foot, but the longus is not. So wouldn't I do both?
You can, yes. And the thing is, here, let me see if I can get to review. Stop this and right here, because yes, this is where the tendon is coming across on the bottom of the foot. So the muscle, as you said, is actually in the leg, but the tendon was down here. And when we're doing, testing the anterior tibial and the peroneus and the posterior tibial, even though the muscles are still located in the legs, they are connected down to the feet, and we've been testing those, but we've been neglecting the muscles that are actually in the feet, and so that was the point that I've been trying to make right here. Is these are in additional. Did that answer your question? Any other questions?
It did. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so now is going to be time for you to practice this yourself. So we've got plenty of time to do 15 minutes here. And any questions before you try this yourself, or try it with a partner or anyone that you can work with? Okay, so go for it. And I'll set the time here for 15 minutes. Okay. So I think everybody's getting back. Anybody have good luck? Thumbs up. Did it work out for everybody? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, good. Any questions about any part of this? Yes. Sherry.
I was doing my feet and then I did Aubriana's feet. And I just had one question. When you're doing the individual toes, are you pushing in the middle of the toe as opposed to the tip of the toe?
I'm still pushing right on the tip of the toe.
Okay, because both on my feet and her feet, hers it was her baby toe and mine it was like the ring finger toe. And when I push in the middle, it will hold strong. But if I push at the tip, it will go weak. But even with spindling, it won't regain it. Like the tip wants to just keep bending, but the whole toe, if I push in the middle section, so like it'll hold strong. And all the toes obviously hold strong together. So we
Sure.
can spindling a few times, but then we thought, well, wait, maybe we're just not doing it right. We're not pushing in the right place. I was,
Yeah. One of the things that, with the toes is that you may have 3 sets of spindles in each toe. So they're real small and real tiny. So just getting in there and focusing on those individual joints, that may do it. Something
Okay.
also is that I go around the toes sometimes, particularly if I'm having difficulties. I'll get the side, then I'll get the
Oh.
bottom, then I'll get the other side,
Oh,
particularly with the stubborn toe.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll do that. And then
Okay.
interestingly, just as a side note to any women that wear toe rings, like myself, I did find that on both feet, because I have toe ring on each foot, those were the ones that immediately just tested weak.
Ah, okay. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Even though they are solid sterling silver, like they're not junky toe rings, but
Right.
still, I didn't take them off to retest, but I was able to strengthen it by doing the spindling. But those were the two that instantly were weak.
Okay. Okay. Something I have noticed personally too is that I have to watch my big toenail length, because if my big toenails get too long, it actually starts affecting the way that my foot is flexing. And so if I'm having problems, it may not be just the plantars or the dorsals. It could, I need to make sure I keep those trimmed, and I have ingrown. I have to make sure, clip away so that I don't get ingrown toenails. And
Yeah.
something I found out too is on my lace-up shoes, if I get them too tight, it affects the way the foot is flexing also. So what I'll do is that I'll retie my shoes so that I'll have a little bit of room for flexing. Then I'll tie my knot real tight, and then that helps. I see another hand up there. Yes.
Yeah, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's Tanya. Yes, I hear you.
Struggling with Zoom. It's been a while since I used it, so I finally found the raising hand. I can't curl my. If I point my feet, yeah, if I can curl my toes, if I'm not pointing my whole foot. As soon as I try and point my foot, my whole foot, the toes don't curl anymore, right? And they can go into spasm. Now I do have foot pain and all sorts of things, and it's all related, and how it affects the body too. So I wondered if I did this regularly, because also I couldn't get things to stay strong using the spindle technique. I'm just going to continue to explore that and see. But is it just me, or you said that you can get them strong very quickly with people. Do you have people that sometimes you may need to suggest that they do this themselves for a certain amount of days? And
Well,
If-
that's part of what we do is that we're an educational model too, so that we will teach people how to do it themselves, and so that is good advice. Another is that making sure that people have water. A lot of times people aren't hydrated properly, so that's a good one right there. The other is that I would. Well, some of the other techniques you could trace. Are you familiar with tracing the meridians?
I don't know anything about
Tracing
that.
the.
I'm
Okay,
a
yeah, trace.
I do brain gym, but I'd have to.
Okay, well, yeah, the meridian is particularly the kidney meridian. I mean, it's a very powerful meridian, and whenever I'm having really difficulties getting things coming back, I will run the kidney meridian, and basically it starts right on the ball of the bottom of the foot and comes up and goes all the way up to the K27s.
Yeah.
But you can also look, in I showed you the neurolymphatics and the neurovasculars. Those are pretty easy also. And if well, working with brain gym, well, one thing is the metaphors. That was one of the last things Dr. Thie was working with, and Matthew has got a new course on metaphors. So I created some metaphors here myself, and those are almost like Zen-like comments, and you can make those comments. Can you stand on your toes to see far ahead? Can you step up to life? And those are very powerful also. And so you might try those in addition to the spindle cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are you'll be surprised how powerful the metaphors are, and
Yeah.
as they're like
They're
Zen like.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And then that's they're wonderful. And when you did that demonstration on Gail's toes, so I mean, obviously you do this on each other irregularly, and some of hers were weak. So do you have to do it to each other regularly to maintain them to be strong as well?
Yeah, it depends on what we're doing. We were during the summer, we played a lot of beach volleyball, and I can, and there's a lot of jumping there and running around, but I can tell when my plantars are out because I can look at my footprint in the sand, and if my footprint is flat, I know that my plantars are out and my arch has dropped. So depending upon what we're doing, I say that maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks, we'll have to do something. And I find that my right foot goes out more than my left, and so I have I can tell just by walking whether mine are in or out. And after you do this for a while, and you can see the difference between them being inhibited and being working properly and strong, you can just tell if they're in or out. So it's I usually don't have to do them all the time, but depending upon my exercise or my stress levels, probably more than anything. Believe it or not, stress blows my plantars out more than physical exercise.
Well, I'm definitely going to, because I massage my feet every day after my shower, put some oil on my feet and massage them. But big thing I've got from today is I'm going to add just spindle cell, all over my feet every day. Because how long does it take? A few seconds, and I could do that under my lower legs and wherever else seems appropriate. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that just about the spindle cells is a great gift.
Oh, good. Yeah, this was, when I was discovered this, working with a fellow dancer, like I told you, I used all my techniques that I'd learned in Touch for Health, and I was just confident that, she was going to say, "Oh, everything's fine now, no pain." And then when she didn't say that, it was like, "Uh-oh, what do I do now?" And I had to think back, well, get back to the basics of muscle testing. Or muscle testing, you're contracting the muscles, and then the test is actually trying to extend from the contracted position. So try that, and then they were unlocking. And so it was, okay. So they're unlocking, obviously. So what do I do now? And the spindle cells were the first thing that came to mind. But then I was interested in, well, which meridian is it? And do the points, neurolymphatic points and neurovascular points that are associated with with the meridian, will those work also? And so the way I thought back, I said, well, this must be like the original founders, Goodhart, and what they call the Dirty Dozen, the guys that figured all this out. Well, how do they know which muscles which meridian? So what I would do is that when I found that the plantars were out, we went through and started testing, and correcting all the different meridians, and that's how I discovered which meridian was involved. And so, but that is so really it is, the association with stress and fear is pretty profound, because the kidney meridian is in the water meridian, and the water meridian has to do with fear. And so when people are really fearful or under a lot of stress, it blows out their plantars or their dorsals. So think of it that way too. Is that addressing stress and figuring out.
Okay, and lastly, quick question: when you're holding neurovascular points, how long do you generally do it as a rule?
I depending. I usually do it at least 20 seconds. That's fine. Right here. Obviously, if you're driving, you don't use two hands, you use one hand. But yeah, the ESR points are very, very powerful, and you see people doing them all the time. I've always told my students that you can go to any intersection here in Atlanta, and you can see somebody giving themselves an ESR sitting in traffic. So it's those are very good stress relievers, right? Also,
Thanks.
if you're doing it with someone else and you're doing the technique and you're stepping them through, you can actually feel the flutters on each side of the hemisphere of the brain. And then what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to hold until you feel them become synchronized and kind of disappear. And another thing too is that when I'm under a lot of stress or Gail's doing something, giving me an ESR, finally when I can't think about what the problem is any longer, my mind starts drifting. I know that it's been long enough. Or if I'm holding someone else, I'll sit.
Yeah.
When you can tell they've had a shift then, and that they let go. So that's a good indicator also.
Thank
Okay. Any yes, Sherry.
And also to make sure you're not carrying someone else's energy that's close to you or that you're thinking about, because if we're receptors, we're going to do that.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. So that right, that's one of the things of being an empath, or you need to realize that you could feel these, but you don't need to take that energy on. And if you do feel like you're ever taking it on, you've got to just visualize sending it up to the universe and letting go of it, because the universe is bigger than us, and the universe can handle it, and just let go. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, is that another question, Sherry? Yes.
One more plug for our pets, which is why it's so important to balance our pets, because they don't know how to do that. So we can facilitate that for them if they're under anxiety or duress or stress. So that illustration that you were using, so we can help them do that, because if they're chewing, if they're gnawing, if they're pacing, you saw those things Jeremy was doing. So they don't
Yeah.
release that. So oftentimes they react negatively because they got all this stress on them. So
Right. And they don't know how to let go of it. They don't,
right.
and so you need to intervene there and help them out. I've always considered our cats my emotional barometer, uh, because two is if I'm upset or whatever, I know that it's affecting them, and so I have to be careful about that. I had one cat that he would come up every morning and sit right beside me, and I'd put my forehead up to his forehead and I'd hum, and that was how we began our day. And then hum for 15, 20 seconds, then he'd jump off and run away, run off. But he was calming me down as much as I was calming him down, I think. But yeah, good point. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So if you've never taken a touch growth before, we've got our touch growth series is coming up 1 through 4. We're starting in January, and thanks to a lot of feedback from people like Sherry, I have changed. Notice I'm not using a green screen here today. In my last class, because I had my microphone here and I had a microphone up there, and I was walking away, and people couldn't hear me. And one of my students says, "Why don't you try some AirPods?" And I said, oh, well, I actually have some, but I thought they were more for just listening, not so much for talking. But now I've got them, and that's helped me. And all my last group of students, gave me a big thumbs up. Okay, well, we can hear you now. So thanks to always learn something from my students. And so that's good. Any other questions before we go? And I really appreciate all of you, taking this time, and hopefully you see that it's worth it, and that it's going to be very beneficial. Hopefully not only for yourself, but for everyone, for all your loved ones, and for your clients. And hope to see you again. And thanks. It's good seeing you again. For those who have already taken classes with us before. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day, or good night, good morning, wherever you are, whatever time it is in your part of the world. All right.
Too.
Bye bye.
Can I
Bye.
Wait, Tanya had a
Oh,
question.
Oh, a question. Okay. Oh, Tanya. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, with another question. We'll talk to you about that, Ted.
okay, thanks.
So will we get a copy of this recording, or is
Yes.
we will be able to download it? Okay.
Yes, it'll be up. It'll be a YouTube video, and you can look at it whenever you want to. And it may take me a couple of days to get it done, but
Okay.
I'll get it there, and you can look at that. And was everybody able to download the manual? Anybody?
No.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Okay.
I wanted to print it, but it was printing sideways. I'll find
Okay.
out.
Well, we have a little tech tip too about printing, because it's are you printing on the horizontal end or the vertical end, and then so there's some tips there. All right. Was there another question? Yes.
I just wanted to comment. There are meridian stretches, I know. I don't know about the dance, but I know there's meridian stretching. Did you ever hear that?
No.
I
It
could
sounds
get.
kind of like a brain gym type of exercise.
Oh, okay.
I've seen also for the different elements, or for the different meridians, different animals. So in a way, the animal movements are associated with the different meridians, and so that's a little bit of brain gym, and a little bit of a qigong in there also. This came from the Chinese faculty member, and they had movements for each of the meridians. And so some of them were birds, some of them were tigers, and some of them were lions. And so it was really fun.
Mm.
Okay. Any other questions or anything?
I wanted to tell Cosimo that he looks like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For a
Right.
second, I was like, wow, did Clint join your class? That's awesome.
Yeah. So is that Cosimo? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Cosimo. I don't know. He must know who that is, right? I mean, it's an American actor, but I don't know.
I
what
am
Oh,
from
yeah.
Italy. Thank you
Yeah.
very
From
much.
Italy.
But you know who Clint Eastwood is, right? The American actor.
I have some problem with the language, so
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, it was a compliment, a very
Yeah,
high
it was a
compliment.
compliment. Yeah,
He's a very handsome guy.
yeah.
And
Very nice compliment.
right. So do you pronounce it Brindisi or Brindisi?
Brindisi,
Brindisi.
in
Okay.
the south of Italy.
Gail and I have been there
Oh,
twice.
twice.
Well, once we took the ferry from Brindisi to
To Greece.
Greece,
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes,
back,
yes.
and then back. So yeah, you're way down there, down
Yes.
in the down near the hill of Italy,
Okay.
almost. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad you joined us. So, what time is it there in your part of the world? What time?
It's
You're in the belt.
it's 7 p.m.
Oh, 7 p.m. Okay. So not quite, almost our bedtime here, but not quite. No. We used to stay up late, but not so much now. So, okay, Naomi, are you okay? Any questions?
No, it's all good. Oh no, one
Okay.
actually. What one? Sort of. I'm getting quite a few clients. I'm a reflexologist actually, and there's a few people coming with neuropathy now. Now, is this something worth trying with people?
Yes, I would say most definitely. And one thing with I heard years ago with neuropathy, with the increase it was with the low fat diets.
Okay.
And what was happening is that too much fat is bad, but we need some a bit of fat and cholesterol because those get turned into neurotransmitters. And if people are on a totally no fat diet, they're not being able to generate
Okay.
the neurotransmitters and so neuropathy and is one of the symptoms of that. So that's just uh, ask about diet and do this too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. No, it's been really good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sure. Very good. So Tanya, obviously you're not from Oregon. So where were you originally from?
Originally from Britain, from England and Brighton, and yeah, where I trained in reflexology as well, actually. Well,
Oh, cool.
reflexology,
Brighton.
yeah.
Okay. Well, you're not too far from Brighton there, are you, Naomi?
Oh yeah, I'm in Somerset, so quite a way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, across the ocean, it's close. It's close to us, right? All right. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed this, and I hope that you can use this often, and I hope that you can help many people and let us know of your successes. And I love hearing good stories and good comments. And if you do have any questions, shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to answer them if we can.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. One thing, if you don't have our eTouch for Health software, our eTouch software is in 85 countries, and we wrote that in conjunction with Dr. Thie, and so we use that in our. I tell people use it for learning, teaching, and practicing Touch for Health. We also have a few more online courses, and we don't have them going right now. We did a little bit of remote balancing just a few seconds ago with Elizabeth, so thank you, everyone, and please shoot us some email. Let us know how things are going, and if I love hearing the good stories, how you've been able to help other people or help yourself. So thank you, everyone. What's next? Here it goes. All right.